see where we go from here. One of the great ironies in James's life that eventually proved to be his undoing was that while he had always been vigilant and creative about protecting and increasing other people's money, he was not quite as careful with his own. And that was why he had been caught up in the web of disgraced financier Allen Stanford. One of Stanford's emissaries had come calling at James's LOJ Towers office one morning and outlined an impressive investment vehicle that would apparently see him realize a return of 35% on any investment he could make of 10 million Jamaican dollars or more. Normally, James's bullshit detector would have been going off like Spider-Man's spider sense. But on that particular occasion, he had been so distracted, tired, and stressed out that the well-spun, slick tale of just how the plan would work got past his defenses. And so he signed on the dotted line and authorized a transfer of $15 million to the tender mercies of the Stanford Group. Complimentary tickets for front row seats to the Stanford 2020 Cricket T20 tournament had not hurt either. A week in Antigua was just the thing to get out of Alison's clutches for a while. She hated cricket and refused to go, which was fine with him. He had quite enjoyed the tournament, as a matter of fact, and was ecstatic when Jamaica won. He was not so ecstatic, however, when reports began to surface that Stanford was being investigated by the US's Securities and Exchange Commission and the FBI. James was a bit disquieted, but with so much else happening in his life, felt at that stage that things were okay. They were not. 6 months later, Stanford was in jail, and the Stanford Group Ponzi scheme had come crashing down, taking his $15 million with it. And when that side of his life had started to unravel, the rot quickly spread. Having had to tell Alison that what he had done and what had resulted, she had, not surprisingly, taken the baby and left. A letter from her lawyer demanding both a divorce and alimony, as well as child support, arrived a week later. On top of all this, when word got out about what had happened to him, James's clients deserted him in droves. If he was so sanguine about his own money, they reasoned, what would stop James from playing fast and loose with theirs? Eventually, Philip had to show him the door. A trader who was not trading, and moreover one who had developed a reputation for financial indiscipline, was a liability, and the company had to protect its good name in the competitive investment banking business. And with his sour track record, no one else would hire him. James could not get hired as chief dog catcher. The icing on the cake, the last straw, had come when, as one of the last acts before he left Greenwich and Haynes, he had seen a multi-million-dollar deal, a merger that he had worked for months to put together, blow up in his and the company's face, largely because he had failed to spot that the significant, give me 1 minute, here we go, significant hole in one of the company's balance sheets that the firm had tried to paper over with some creative accounting. It was the kind of thing he would normally have spotted, but not this time. It had cost the company millions, and James had had to sell his birthday townhouse to help find the money to repay the client, or risk an even more expensive lawsuit than the divorce and child custody battles that he was contesting. Not so much because he wanted to save his marriage, he just didn't want to lose his child. As he sat at the dining table, the last of his coffee getting cold, he reflected on the divorce, the custody battle which he had lost, having to sell his car to help cover the divorce expenses, moving out of his Belgrade Heights apartment and into the flea bag he now inhabited at Standpipe near Papine, and his slide into near complete oblivion. His friends had stopped returning his calls, and his family members had disappeared back into the woodwork as quickly as they had emerged. He had hit rock bottom and had lost everything. Life had been tough over the last 2 years. His savings were almost completely gone, and what little cash he had left had kept him supplied with smokes, though he drew the line at drugs and liquor, except for the odd red stripe. So, now what? He asked himself yet again, how do I get my life back? Not to mention my kid. And the sense of powerlessness and empty defeat washed over him yet again. As James sat there, he heard the door rattle as the postman shoved a bunch of letters into his mailbox. He heaved himself to his feet and went to pick up the mail. It was more of the same. Demands for overdue bill payments and threatening letters from his many creditors, and one from his ex-wife's lawyer reminding him that his alimony payments were behind schedule. Good luck with that, he thought, with a touch of gallows humor. The last letter, however, was from the U.S. Department of Justice. Great, he thought. Who else wants a piece of me now? Why the hell would the U.S. DOJ be writing to me, he wondered. As James read the letter, however, his knees buckled, and he became lightheaded and had to grope his way through sudden tears to a chair. He had to sit down before he fell over. The tears were not of despair, but of hope. Dear Mr. Carville, the letter began, we write to inform you that, pursuant to the investigation that we have been carrying out into the activities of Mr. Allen Stanford, we have been seeking to recover the client's funds he misappropriated. We have been successful in recovering approximately $500,000 of your funds. We regret that we could not recover more. That was the point when the tears had come and blinded him, so much so he couldn't see to read the rest of the letter. It wasn't everything he had lost, not even close. But after everything he had been through, James would take it in a heartbeat. This was his way back, his get-out-of-jail-free card. And this time, things would be different. Thank you.